Picture this if you will. The hobgoblins are currently defending their leader as a fighter comes crashing through their barricade, striking them not once, but twice with his sword. As the fighter is doing this, the ogre takes the chance to try and slam him down before being stunned by the monk's stunning strike. This stun allows the rogue enough time to run from the shadows and stab into the ogre, his sneak attack striking true for extra damage. Before the rogue can go back to his hiding spot, however, the leader of the hobgoblins pulls back his arrow and fires. It seems to strike, but the rogue, for some uncanny reason, manages to dodge just enough to reduce the damage. The hobgoblin moves closer to the battle as all three of the players jump away, revealing that this was a trap, getting all the enemies together just in time for the wizard's fireball spell. Hello Internet, I am the hero of Julios, and this is why the 5th level is the most important level in Dungeons & Dragons. Every level in D&D is important because there's story beats and plot threads and things to be picked up on every now and then, but in my opinion, 5th level shines the brightest among them all. Sure, you're not summoning giant elementals or guaranteeing a 10 every time you roll a d20, but 5th level is where the fun begins. The best way I described it to my players is, at level 3, most classes are picking what their character is with subclasses. Granted, druids and clerics and warlocks, there are ones that pick before that, but by level 3, every player knows what their character is. Level 5, however, is when your character finally figures out who they are. By now, you're probably thinking, we get it, 5th level is great, but why? It's because 5th level is when things get introduced that cement uniqueness in your character. Up until now, casters have maybe 2, probably picked a 3rd one at level 4, cantrips. When they start off, they probably are picking 1 cantrip for damage, and then 1 cantrip for utility. Firebolt and Mage Hand. At level 4, you get a 3rd cantrip, which will basically cement whether or not you're a support or a damage dealer, because you're either going to pick another support or helpful cantrip, or you're going to pick a damage dealing one for versatility. From there, you obviously have your different subclasses to choose from that are going to grant you special spells that are located outside your circle of your regular class. For example, warlocks who can pick fireball, or druids who can pick stronger wild shapes. This gives you a unique flavor to your class based on your subclass. But the spells provided at 5th level are the level 3 spells. We've all had fun at 1st and 2nd level spells with things like Alarm and the classic Cure Wounds, but with 3rd levels, things start to change. Suddenly, the cleric in your party can bring back the member who died during the fight, the sorcerer can give the fighter even more attacks with haste, and of course, the wizard can cast Fireball. Suddenly, the orcs that were wiping out your party at level 3 don't seem so terrifying. They're band together in a straight line with their javelins at the ready, just seem like cannon fodder. I could call this video why 3rd level spells are awesome, but I haven't even started talking about the martial classes, the ones that don't use spells. See, we got pretty much every class that doesn't throw magic. At 5th level, they get their extra attacks. Now, while this at first doesn't seem all that unique, it's almost like rolling with advantage every turn. Sometimes you're going to hit twice, but for now, it's not, the fighter takes a swing, and then, okay, that's my turn because I missed. Now, they at least get to swing once, and then swing again, see if maybe they do hit the goblin. The monk who missed the first time, his second punch actually hits, and then he can use his stunning strike that he just got. The barbarian has extra movement, allowing him to charge into battle faster than his allies. And going back to the fighter, yes, right now they only get extra attack, but unlike the other classes, they're on a journey to striking 4 times a turn, which is already terrifying. And it's not just the players that get more unique and strong at level 5. Challenge rating 5 monsters are when things start being unique, or at least starting to get a little different. You're no longer fighting just, oh, it's a bunch of orcs and their leader who has slightly more HP. We're not fighting a couple oozes or, little semi-demons like imps and whatnot. Now, you're fighting against the 4 different types of elementals, a giant reincarnated flesh golem, a shambling mound of giant roots and vines coming forward to try and devour your party. Challenge rating 5 is when monsters start to get more serious, more terrifying. They can terrorize entire villages by themselves if not stopped. And sometimes a challenge rating 5 monster is the end cap of a beginner's Dungeons & Dragons adventure. Finally, what does level 5 mean to dungeon masters like myself? Well, us DMs are nothing more than a repository of magic items to give to these loot-hungry demigods. And from that, we have a lot of unique things to pull. The Dungeon Master's Guide recommends that level 5 is the level where we start handing out rare magic items. I'm not saying, in every single chest the players pull out, but I am saying that our players are going to go from +1 long swords and wind fans to more unique magical items. Magical items that, in my opinion, you can base an entire quest line off of. For example, a town that has been losing their crops to a vicious plague. Turns out a evil sorcerer has been using the staff of swarming insects to terrorize the people, forcing them to buy food from him instead. A hobgoblin warlord keeps his troops in line with his powerful flaming sword of death. Or maybe your players want to travel across an archipelago in which they find themselves with a folding boat that they can keep in their pocket until the time comes to sail to the next island. Rare magic items are not world-changing items, but they are campaign-changing ones. Suddenly the cleric wonders if the staff of swarming insects is any different than his own insect plague spell. Is he just as evil as the villain they fought? Maybe the fighter decides, hey, I'm going to take a couple levels into wizard or warlock so that I better understand this flaming sword I just got. Obviously, we DMs can give players these magic items earlier or put them in a random treasure chest later in the game, but rare magic items and 5th level are a nice sweet spot where these items change how the campaign is going without being too broken and can lead the players to new discoveries. So to wrap this all up, 5th level is when players finally get the hang of who they're, turning their characters into, the monsters are starting to get unique, and rare magic items are finally entering the picture, if we're going by book, which I'm sure all of you good little DMs at home are definitely doing. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.